Greetings, friends. Today, I will show you the Silk Route that went through ancient China and crossed over Central Asia and reached the Mediterranean region. I will also show you its southern branch, which crisscrossed through the Indian subcontinent, which is not usually talked about in the Western scholarship. So in front of me is open the map of ancient world, and you can see here this line in green and yellow, which is the route of the ancient Silk Route. This was the trade route that followed from China, and it went right up to Mediterranean Sea. So you can see that it starts from the eastern extremity of China, and it goes through Nanking, Nanyang, and then it enters the northern region of Tibetan Plateau, and it goes through Jiangwan, Angxi, and then it turns southwards and there it's branches into two directions because it circumvented the Taklamakan Desert, which lay out in front of the traders. So they circumvented the Taklamakan Desert. At Tunwang, the route branched off into two directions. And then after Taklamakan Desert, the two branches met again at Kashgar. And then it continued to Samarkand, Bukhara, and then it turned southwards and went to Merv, and from there to Mashhad in the Persian Peninsula. And from Mashhad, it went to Nishapur, and then finally to Tehran. What is Tehran today? And then it further went westwards and crossed Ekbatana and reached Baghdad in what is Iraq today. In those days, this area was known as Mesopotamia. From Baghdad, it again turned southwest and northwest, and reached Palmyra, which was a major urban center in those days. At Palmyra, it again branched into two directions. The northern route went to Aleppo, which was a major city in ancient world. And finally, from Aleppo, it reached Constantinople, which became the center of Byzantine Empire later. And the southern route from Palmyra went through Damascus, Gaza, and it ended at Cairo, which was Egypt. So you can see that this trade route, which is popularly known as Silk Route, it crisscrossed through the entire ancient world, and it encompassed China, all the ancient civilizations, China and Central Asia and Persian Empire and Mesopotamia, and also the Mediterranean, Egypt and Mediterranean world. So this was a major route that traveled through the ancient world. What is not known is, what is usually not talked about is that a branch of this route turned southward and it crisscrossed through Indian subcontinent. And India participated in a major way in this silk trade and the trade route formed by the silk trade. So at Pamir, which is the northern extremity of Kashmir, at this, after crossing Pamir, it reached this route when it reached Samarkand. From Samarkand and Bukhara, it turned southwards and then southeast. One branch turned southeast, and then from Bukhara, which is in Afghanistan today, from Bukhara it came to Bactria. From Bactria it came to Peshawar, which is in Pakistan today. From Peshawar, it came to Takshila, which is also in Pakistan. Then from Takshila, it came to Lahore, what is called Lahore today. In those days, this was the Multan region. And then from Lahore, it came to Delhi. And then this route continued along the Indo-Gangetic plain, and it crisscrossed Allahabad, Varanasi, and finally it ended on the sea coast in Bengal. And this place was called Tamralipti, and later it became known as Tamluk. So there was this branch coming southeastwards from the Silk Route, which covered the entire northern part of the Indian subcontinent. Now, near Delhi, another route came downwards towards the Indian peninsula. And I will show you where this southern route went. So from Delhi, this route came southwards and it reached the western coast of Gujarat to the town of Surat, which was a major commercial center, and also to the port called Bharukach. In ancient times, this port was called Bhrigukach, and later it became known as Bharukach. And finally, nowadays it is called Bharoch. So it came to Bharoch. From there, it went further south, and it reached Pratishthan. Nowadays, it is called Paithan. And Pratishthan was another major commercial center. It is also a major silk weaving center. So silk saris of Pratishthan are very famous. From Pratishthan, it went further south and reached Mozairis. Mozairis was a major trading emporium of Kerala on the western coast. And then from Mozairis, it turned towards eastern coast to what was called Mylapore. Mylapore was the ancient name of Madras, the city of Madras, which is known as Chennai today. So what is Chennai today was known as Mylapore, which later came to be known as Madras. Mylapore was a major urban center, and it was on the coast, eastern coast. And from there, the traders could go on to Sri Lanka, to Burma and other Southeast Asia country. And then the route turned northwards along the eastern coast, and it covered Jagannath Puri in Orissa, which has a very famous temple, and it also was a major port. And it also went to Vishakhapatnam in south of Puri. So, and this route finally connected to Tamralipti on the coast, sea coast of Bengal. I had told you that the branch from Silk Route had crossed through Delhi, Varanasi, Indo-Gangetic plain, and reached Tamralipti. So this part of the route is not usually talked about in the Western scholarship, but this these branches of the Silk Route, which crisscrossed through the Indian subcontinent, gave the opportunity of Indian traders to participate majorly in the trade of the ancient world through the ancient Silk Route, what is known as the Silk Route. And Varanasi was and it still is a major silk weaving center. The silk saris of Varanasi are very famous, and Kanchipuram near Mylapore in south. Kanchipuram is also a major silk weaving center. Then I had told you about Pratishthan. So at least 3 major silk weaving centers emerged as great cities where silk was woven, and this silk which was woven in India was different from the Chinese silk. They did not bring silk from China. They grew their own silkworms and they produced their own silk. And the intricate embroidery that was done on these Indian silk saris, it was greatly prized by the ancient world. in both Mediterranean and Central Asia and Egypt and Greco-Roman Empire. So Indian silk was highly prized. Now, this is not something that is usually talked about, but in ancient sources, we have major archaeological and historical accounts of this trade route, the Silk Route of ancient period, which contributed, which had a branch crisscrossing through the Indian subcontinent and which contributed majorly to the silk weaving trade and other trade of other luxury goods that were manufactured in India to be transported to Central Asia, Mediterranean world, Egypt, and other parts of the ancient civilization. So we'll stop here today. And in the next video, I will tell you more about the ancient world.